Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Today, some new vibes, new tunes, new stuff, and we talk new media with Dr. Sebastian Petersen, the CEO of Afrikaap Radio. Meanwhile, Station Strangler, remember him? Norman Afzal Simons, allegedly the Station Strangler, looks set to be in a process to achieve parole. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Also, new South African champion in a field that we really dominate, as Bonilla Rabella and Mr. Humboweni scoop gold medals at the World Sheep Shearing and Wool Handling Championship in Scotland. If you thought I was going to talk about the last towel bender stuff, sorry, that's maybe for another time. And also this week the media has been dominated by the assault of innocent people by cops, as the Mashatile VIP bodyguards dominated front pages. But also we've got a clip of the law enforcement, City of Cape Town law enforcement beating up homeless people for no reason. Welcome to the show. I'm Roscoe Palm. That's new music, new track at the top of the show, dropped and created by none other than DJ Madfingers, Mr. Nantle Hopley. How are you doing, bro?
I'm alright. Like a weekend. How was your weekend?
On Saturday, I watched the Fagan Miller podcast. I watched the show that they had on Thursday when he had Vinchenzo Pastoor in.
No, you're talking about Jozon.
Sorry, Jozon. Sorry, Fagan. Jozon.
It was one of his best work.
It was compelling because if you missed the story, a person or people were allegedly chased by community members, chased by community members, and then security guards, yes, and then they fled from them. They jumped into, or at least one of them jumped into the flavor at Steenberg, and then this person drowned.
Yeah, so one got out and one sustained. This is my understanding of it. It's not the whole truth, I guess. But he sustained injuries and he drowned subsequently of the injuries and then they threw him in there. And then, what transpired was just, I don't want to say negligence, but it's just.
There's a lot more questions and answers, because then the friend of the person who was deceased, a guy called Vinchenzo Pastoor, took it on himself to search for the body after fire and rescue declined to search.
I think they were there because I saw some other pics where they were there, and it was a bit rough. But I mean, how can you allow the public to go in when you scared? If you scared, I would say say something like nobody can go in, rather. But you rather watch somebody else go in.
Yes, And you know, there's so many, there are many other questions. Like when this guy, and he tells a story, it's harrowing and it's compelling how he looked for his friend's body in the bottom of the splay. He finds the corpse, and then the cops tell him, no, don't bring him out that side, bring up this side. So that brings out the question, was it cops from, that's the dividing line between two precincts. So did cops from one precinct say, no, we don't want the admin, put him that side so that Kirstenhof police has the admin, or, that's like one of the, secondly, these guys who allegedly chased and assaulted these guys, it's on Facebook, it's said by many people that they packed their stuff and disappeared. So I don't know what kind of inquest docket will be opened.
Yeah. I would love to escalate this thing. From what we're doing, I'm trying to reach out to other people. I think there's a Wesley Powell that did some lives on it, and I think we should, since we are Cape conscious media, I think it's in our ballpark to want answers for the community, because we all know that the Western Cape is unfair. We've got a video lined up. It's going to say the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. Waar 4 keer is, samen een moerse fire. And And the problem is the media is not picking up on this stuff. You'll get this story, you'll get here and there story, but nobody escalates it. It gaat nergens.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit bored with that, man. I'm a bit bored that the newspapers recognize the main story, but there's nothing comes after that. So that trauma stays with that people. And I told Mr. Pastoor that was here. I told him, dude, maybe just go for counseling. It might not seem like a lot now, but I feel it might creep up on you, man. And likewise, with the whole community also, man. You can only push a community of people so far, man. It's fucked up that we're getting used to this cuck behavior from our governments, man. And not just the government, but people in power that draws a salary every month and get rewards and stuff like that. But they give for us power to none, like stupid service, man. And somebody needs to take this further, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of unanswered questions about that. I would just like to compliment Vinchenzo for having the bravery to come on and to tell his story, and also to Ryan for handling that interview in a very sensitive and compelling way. So it's good job. Right, so then we're gonna let's have a look at this video, because the VIP protection thing was a big story, and I think those guys should go to jail. But then there's also things that we don't hear about, like this Cape Town law enforcement guy just beating up people for no reason.
Let me just play this.
I mean, if that's somebody sort of spraying with a law enforcement officer. Spraying somebody with pepper spray. We can stop it there, because I don't want to really, this thing is circulating. I've got a comment from a guy who was on the show, Carlos Mesquita. I asked him what's the context of this video, and he said, law enforcement entertaining themselves again, the normal way of doing things, descend on a homeless encampment and start harassing and searching people. The guy questioned them, and so-called big fat oaf climbed on top of him and did what they love doing. Sprayed a canister of pepper spray in his eyes, and you see throughout how he shakes the canister to see if he can spray more. Two of them once took me down and sprayed one canister in each eye, couldn't see for 3 weeks. So, I mean, these guys are clearly identifiable on the video. So I want to know, we're talking to JP Smith, what is he going to do about this? Is there an incident report? Is there any sort of recourse that these people can have to... The guy's not doing anything. He's not resisting. And yet it's like excessive force.
Yeah, I couldn't ever actually watch that video. It's just degrading, man. It's like, it's a human being, man. It's like, if you don't like working with people, then that job is not for you, man. And I understand for the police the environment is dangerous and all that, but like, I couldn't see any. Were they in trouble? I maybe part of the video I didn't see, but they also retaliated. But I couldn't see from that video that they were in danger. And you already had the man is crying already, man. You have his dignity already, man. So what more do you want, man? It's a power game, man.
No, it's shocking, and I wonder, I wonder if there's anything that can be done. Look, there's going to be, it seems like I'm sort of bashing on Cape Town a lot today, but I mean, there are things that affect like the working class and poor people. When we're looking at the electricity prices, the municipality pays Eskom R1.74, but they pass it on to the consumer in terms of further rates with a R3.09 levy. So that's a R1.35 profit per unit that the city of Cape Town makes on electricity. If they were really serious about being pro-poor, they wouldn't add an extra amount like that. It's just like really, it's unnecessary. Now they can say that this stuff feeds into some sort of fund, or whatever the case may be. But they took out €100 million loan just the other day. It says Cape Town secures R2 billion for water public. It's not that one. I'll read this out. But according to a report in News 24, the city of Cape Town has secured €100 million loan. That's R2 billion in development finance for infrastructure projects. The loan is to be provided by France's Development Bank, Agence Française de Développement Portant, however you pronounce it. The bulk of the funding will be directed to water and sanitation, followed by public transport initiatives called urban mobility. That's our good friend Ricardo's department. And access to electricity, 17%. Now, if they are putting extra tariff on, they're making a profit on every unit. So why are they taking a R2 billion loan from France? It's crazy. Now, the problem with this R2 billion loan, I didn't see any public participation process for that, and there are no financial statements released about the repayments and how it impacts the ratepayers. So they're still paying they're going to be paying interest on this loan to France, remember. Some also whatever, Pepe fucking, yeah. And the point is, it's unnecessary because the city of Cape Town likes to brag about how they have surplus budget. The last time I checked in 2021, I think they had 19 billion rand in the bank. So they are creating more debt that they're passing on to the residents of the city of Cape Town, creating loans that they really don't need in the first place. So this thing is, it must be like donor funding for the DA or something. There's nothing that makes sense about it. And the fact that there are no financial statements about the repayments that I can find, that there's no public participation process for this, they're making more scope with other people when they don't have to.
Yeah. Als het met matriek, man, is een probleem. That's the problem. Maybe if they studied further, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway.
And there are other issues like the desalination stuff. You know, the desalination plants, they were built at huge costs. At one stage, I think you can scroll through the desalination stuff. The city commissioned 3 desalination plants. 2 were built, to my understanding, and then they were just broken up. And they were donated to people. Now, I know for a fact that these desalination plants were donated to business, donated to private people. And when the commissioning of this, with this big tender, they lied to one of the people who won the tender when they didn't disclose that the city's pollution levels were 400% higher than they put in the documents, which obviously carries another cost, a massive cost when it comes to purifying water. So, you know, when you take out a R2 billion loan for like water and infrastructure and all that stuff, we have to remember that they're going to take the money and run. The ANC, the DA, they are in many ways mirror images of the worst tendencies of each other. I'm not blaming just like one political party or another political party. I'm saying that they replicate and they reproduce the bad habits of each other. There's one more DA thing that I'm really, it sounds like I'm anti-DA today. I just happened to read the wrong things in the paper. This story is about the 110 BMWs. So it seems that the Western Cape government has confirmed that 110 BMWs purchased in 2022 were never used. A total of 94 million were gathering dust at government facilities for over a year, allegedly costing 850,000 rand each. Now, they confirmed that they were purchased in 2022, now halfway through 2023, and these things were never used. Today, the minister, our good friend Ricardo Mackenzie,
we had him in a couple of weeks ago.
Our very good friend Ricardo Mackenzie, who has the third biggest budget, apparently. Also, his department mobility is also mentioned in that loan that we don't need, but we took anyway. Or rather, the DA or the City of Cape Town took on behalf of us that we have to pay. He said in a statement today that he says that 50 BMWs were parked. What about the other 60? So why does Alan Winde, one of his MECs, not ministers, MECs, release a statement about 50 BMWs, but the question was about 110 BMWs. I don't know if like 60 BMWs just suddenly disappeared, but this is fruitless, wasteful expenditure. We worry so much about these bodyguards, these VIP bodyguards on the N1. We worry so much about the load shedding stuff, but if you can't call out corruption around the corner from where you live, then you shouldn't call out corruption anywhere. Anyways, that's my rant for the day. So now that I've got you in a really bad mood, I've decided let's turn it over to Sebastian Petersen, Dr. Sebastian Petersen. How are you, man?
I'm doing very well. Thanks so much.
Now, so you have a voice for radio, and now apparently you also have a face for the silver screen.
I think I do. I've been always wanting to do TV, and in fact, I was for 22 years in politics. And then when I started doing radio, I also started doing a little bit of background acting. And then recently, I was appointed. I know I come with politics and appointments. So I was told that I actually going to play a part in another movie. I can't reveal the movie yet because obviously we're still in the process of doing this kind of things. We're doing our rehearsals and all the kind of things, and lees met scripts and all this kind of things. So yeah, so I'm glad to be on your show. In fact, I was now bulldozed you the other day when you came to our studio, and I just literally got you into air. So yeah.
No, I'm always happy to just hang with an old friend. So in the context of you inviting me into the studio, because you are the CEO of Afrikaap Radio.
Yeah.
I started to follow this thing a few years ago, but it's exploded into something like really, really, really big.
So let me say this. So when I started, in fact, when I finished politics in 2020, I wanted to do something relevant, and like what you are doing, bringing conscience to especially the political platform, and also entertaining what we love, and that's music, because I'm also a musician. And then I started the radio station in 2021, and I had 5 listeners that started with me. In fact, the one listener was a lady called Jillian. She was my first listener, and she's still with us after so many years. Wow, there's a mooi picture van my neck. It's a sexy young. Come on. Somebody call. You guys don't have me on camera here, because I'm a shy man. No, I'm joking. And so I started off with radio, and then I met a gentleman online. His name is Wayne Southgate. He's all the way from New Zealand. And he said to me, he's interested in doing radio with me. And I'm like, wow. And I asked him, do you have experience? No experience, just like me. And we literally built this brand called Afrikaap Radio. And the reason why I'm calling it Afrikaap Radio is because when I went for an interview to another radio station, they told me, number one, I might have the followers because I get the biggie followers, and I might have the look, but I don't have the voice. And that was one of the things that really, can I say the word, pissed me off?
Yes.
And I said to myself, so if you guys think that because I don't have the English vernacular and I couldn't speak the way they want me, my tongue can nie roll soos some van die mense nie, because what people don't understand, I actually have a speech impediment because my tongue's stuck on the top of my verhemelte. And so I have a problem with speech, but I have the ability to express myself the way I want to express myself. And I was like, wow, man, I can do this. And then I told the interviewer, I said to him, I'm going to start my own radio station. And he still laughs at me and says, you won't be able to do it and all those kind of things. A year and a half, I've got actually the same, because we're online. So my listenership is equal to their listenership that's on FM. And that's now they partnered with me. So now I'm developing them now to find out. Because I'm not a selfish person. I said to myself, listen here, they might have rejected me, but I'm not going to reject them. So that's how I built. And so we started the radio station, and it was something that was a heartbeat and went on. We played local music, and then I started getting all these requests to be presenters. And I can tell you now, none of our presenters that's on our radio at this moment, Roscoe, has ever done radio before. But they have the quality and the ability as people that has done journalism for years. I look at people like Wayne Southgate. We had a lady called Claudine Cornelius that she came on radio. She never ever done radio before. She got on radio. She pushed her show from nothing to nearly 6,000 to 7,000 listeners in one show. The sad part is I was sad that she left because she was one of our Sunday. She was like a what they call a anchor. Then we have people like our owner, and I mentioned their name because I know they are listening. Oh yeah, they're watching me, not listening because like I'm missing. No, come on. And so I've got this brilliant our owner, Cecilia, Narina, we call her Nins. We've got new guys came on. Jenny, she's a teacher. She literally talks about teachers. And then I've got people that were loyal to me for years now, like the Smith family, Nathan and Adele. They've got a restaurant also called DNA. I'm promoting a DNA restaurant in Kilsriver. You guys might go eat there. Like I may later charge for them, but it's all right. It's fine. And they're loyal to me. Wayne Southgate is loyal to me. We've got a lady all the way from Canada, Inge. And then I've got... nou vergeet ek jou se name.
Peter Herring, you didn't mention Peter.
Elton, I'm going to come to the young boys now.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the older boys.
Okay, yes.
Then we've got Elton Davids, a brilliant, in fact, Elton was the South African Olympics coach for the guys going to the Olympics. That's why they brought medals back because of him. He's one of our presenters. So we've got quality people. We've got Peter Herring, we've got Mark and the Young. And I think I've mentioned everybody. If I didn't mention anyone, please forgive me. But I've got these kind of brilliant presenters that never ever done radio in their life, but said, we want to do this. I lie in a Roscoe. I throw them in the deep end. Tell them this is how the thing works, and this is what you're going to do. I ask them to develop their own programs and shows and stuff like that. And one thing that I can tell you, they captivate the minds of people because you guys can see me here, but on radio you can't see it. Some of them don't have a face for TV. So hulle is right agter die mic. Ek het 'n face vir die TV en vir die mic. So yeah.
I was very proud of your success because now you are in 3 countries. You're in Canada, South Africa, and New Zealand.
Yeah.
And it started from a place of being almost, I wouldn't say rejected, but being declined.
I will call rejected. But you know, one of the things that I always tell people is never ever take rejection as a failure. Take it as a stepping stone. Because when they rejected me, I, like what you guys doing here, I said to myself, let me go and develop myself. And it literally developed me. Today, I know more of radio than a lot of other people. And I'm not bragging here, but I'm saying we're still learning. We've got a lot of learning curves. And a gentleman that literally took me under his arms or under his wings, not under his arms because miskien stink sy arms nog goed. But under his wings was Clarence Ford. And Clarence took me in and he literally mentored me to the point where he said to me, Sebastian, this is what you need to do. I've got people like like Marius Fransmans that helped me develop things even into TV media, where they said to me, yes, these kind of things. They gave me stuff. Most of the stuff, a friend of mine that passed away, Joey Cornelius, most of the stuff that you see at our radio station was donated by his wife and the children. And they said to me, listen, this is the things that you can use for radio. And so I want to publicly acknowledge that. So these were the people that believed in me. Clarence them, Claudine them, Joey them, and the team that I have. I've got 19 presenters. They are absolutely the best that I can ask for. Even though I piss down, they freaking will hit every time because I've got OCD and I'm a perfectionist. But when I ask them to do something, I tell you they will cry for a minute, but then they will do it, and and then they will realize they need to step up every time, and then to step up. The other day we had a meeting, and then Peter asked me, so because I gave them the top 4 of who's the best radio presenters, and they said, who's the bottom 4? And they felt, and I said, you guys are the bottom 4, and I said, Peter, you are the lowest. But when I say to them, you're the lowest, doesn't mean that you're bad, because when we started with radio, when I started, we had 5 people, and I built my show up to 25,000. Now it's between, I'm not even first anymore. It's now between the guys from Canada, from New Zealand, Wayne, and even the Smiths. But these guys bring in a listenership of over 6,000 to 7,000 people listening to them. So it's not a matter of it's a failure. It's a matter of listening. You can grow, and how do you grow is by learning. And so that's how I started my radio station.
Even the lowest benchmark is really high for most media.
For online.
So I want to talk about the numbers, because in media it's a numbers game, and you say that your Afrikaap is doing numbers that are comparable to commercial radio stations. Yeah. So let's talk about the raw numbers. How do you, and you've been very transparent about the...
Definitely. We have a listenership up to 66,000. So it measures for a day. So if I look at a show like Wayne, if Wayne Southgate comes up, he will bring like a listener for that show of maybe 35,000 listeners on his show. Then we have like our owner that will bring in 10,000, 15,000. Then we have someone like, okay, there's Claude Cornelius, proud of you. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. They're talking to us. Oh.
Yes, when I was in studio the other day, you turn off your WhatsApp comments. You here, I'm turning the comments on.
Thank you so much.
Rampono, hello, sir. So proud of you and to be part of this vision that is AKR, that's Afrikaap Radio. Claudine Arendorf Cornelius, Cici says, proud of you, Petersen.
Thanks so much for that. And so the numbers for us is very important because when you have a show like, what I do, I look at the different shows. So now my presenters think that I put them in places just because, but I put them on shows because I know that that's the time when people will listen to certain things. Like from 6 till 8 o'clock in the evening, I know it's a talk show. Like people listen to talks. If you're looking from 6 o'clock in the morning till about 6 in the evening, it's drive times, it's people with music and all those kind of things. So you always look at that kind of things, and so I had to develop that programming like that. Anything from 6 to 8.
Sorry to break your word, but I'm glad you're actually mentioning this, because over the weekend we had the same conversation where I say you would look at the radio. The radio in the mornings would be for the stay-at-home moms. So my thought again when it comes to what we're doing is the Thursday night should be more relaxed. Yes. And a Monday and a Tuesday you would have more serious conversations. So we had a little thing where it says, no, we don't have to bound ourselves to this. And I told him the only reason why I'm saying it is because I come from a broadcasting background. Yeah. So programming would be important because of this. We kind of understand the psyche of your audience type of thing, and you play around with this psyche. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad you're actually mentioning them. No. Because now, no voel ek my so bitter.
And the reason why we're like 5 minutes late is because when Sebastian walked into the studio, him and Nantles just sort of like monopolize each other's time about what do you do for this? Oh no, use the optical for this. So it's really, like independent media supporting independent media. But back to the thing about, I want to compare, because remember that that's, I would say that there's a mainstream not rejection and not just suspicion, but like a quiet jealousy of independent media, particularly when it comes to like the metrics that they can understand, which is the numbers. Yeah. So how do you measure up against? Do you take a show and you almost in your head put it up against a direct competitor in the commercial space?
We have to do that, and in fact, so. When you look at a radio station like Heart 104.9 and also Good Hope or FKFM and all these kind of things, So they have competitive. That's why you will see the same presenters will move from KFM to Good Hope to Heart 104.9, and now it's a new baby and it's Smile and all these kind of things. So we also have to get into that kind of ball game and that space and stuff like that. So when I look at online radio stations, I sat with Clarence Ford in 2019 and we had a conversation. Clarence's words to me was, he says, Sebastian, number one, if you want to start a radio station, just know this, that media don't pay. So you don't make money. And a lot of people think that is a joke, but we don't make, if you are owner of a media company, you don't make money because every day you have to spend money to develop. You need to grow whatever it is, because today this mic can be brilliant. Tomorrow it's absolute, and then you need to find something different. But you always need to be a step up. So the same with programming. So I sit down and I look at programming and stuff like that. We have a show on a Friday night called Anything Goes. Roscoe, you don't want to, I don't listen to that show because it's 18 and up. But I've realized that show speaks to a certain type of people and it draws a crowd. Now, Anything Goes talks about 18 and upwards. No?
Adult conversations.
Bro, adult conversations. They talk about swinging. They talk about gays and lesbians. They talk about all the other alphabetical goeikies that LGBTQ, ABCDE. They talk about all those kind of things.
LGBTQIA+. I'm going to teach you something today.
29, 57, 89. Ek stel nie belang in die alfabet because ek kan nie eens alfabet sê nie. Ek ken het vir A, B en C en X, Y en Z. X, Y en Z is wyn, A, B en C is begin. That's all I know. And so we literally have to develop ourselves. But let me say this. So we had a conference on media in itself, and we asked, is FM and MW, is it still going to be relevant from 5 years from now? And the answer is no. Because, Roscoe, if you get into a car today, most of our cars literally connects to our phones. And if you listen to Afrikaap Radio, it literally connects to your car and poof, there it goes. So you don't have to go to FM and just go check. You want to go in 104.9, you want to go to 95.3, or you want to go to 94.5. You don't have to do that because all cars goes internet now. You look at the new Cherries, the new Havals, and all those kind of things, the new BMWs. I'm a BMW fanatic. You get in the car.
Just like the city of Cape Town.
Yeah. There's no standing, mine are driving. But yeah, I don't know, maybe I must go check there if I can.
Maybe they got something, because the moment you drive it off the lot, it loses value, so there's a deal there.
So basically what I'm saying is that, so they asked, so the question was, will FM and MW work in the next 5 years? No. Because if you look in the USA at this current moment, 84% of the people are doing online radio and podcasts like we are doing right now, where people are literally stepping up and saying, and now the what they call the corporate media is becoming a little bit scary of this phenomenon. In fact, I got an email the other day where they told us that they're going to start charging online radio stations, and they're going to make it very difficult for us to do what we are doing. In fact, they're already making data expensive for us.
What are they outlining in terms of how they're going to restrict online radio?
So they want to do licensing.
So you need to effectively apply for broadcast license.
So you have to for broadcast. So ICASA is one of the enemies. Let me not say enemies, but they are one of the people that literally is now going to restrict us and say, listen, you have to comply to X, Y, and Z. Because we're already complying to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's thing, so we can't just say what we want to say. But it's a lot of things that's happening.
And then music, you pay SAMRO. And
we have to pay SAMRO, SAMPRO, we have to pay everyone. But that I don't mind.
You're compliant, of course.
We're compliant. The only sad thing about this is that when you South African music, you get less money than what an international person will get. People don't realize the amount of money that local music actually gets from our government and our SAMPROs and SAMROs compared to international people. It's laughable.
Okay, well, let's park the discussion. Let's just go down this road about local musicians being paid less for SAMRO. Just briefly, you're saying that if you play a local song on the radio, that artist would get paid less than like if you play a Bruno Mars song.
Yeah.
So, what's the difference?
The difference is huge. So for 3 minutes, a local artist can get up to 13 cents for playing his song for 3 minutes. An international artist can get maybe 5 rand, 6 rand playing for 1 minute.
That's crazy.
And so that is why international companies force our people to play. Like Africa, they force our people to play 70% of their music because their revenues pushing like that. And what a lot of people don't realize, if you go from, because radio starts like this, so radio starts from 6 in the morning, because remember the guy that comes from 12 o'clock, it's not another day for him, it's still the same from the next day. So 6 in the morning, that's your first show that you start. Just listen to the music that they're playing continuously. It's the same repetitive song that you will hear in the next show and the next show and the next show, because they're pushing a certain brand. And when they push a certain brand, that is basically the companies. Because remember, commercial radio station lives on these brands. For them, it's about the money. For them, it's not about promoting a local. If you look at in the USA, they will spend literally $1 million on one artist. In South Africa, our government can't even spend 30,000 rand on one artist. Look at what happened in COVID. They couldn't even give our artists 15,000 rand. In the USA, they gave them $300,000 to literally survive that time when there was no performance. And that's the problem that we have in our country. But that is not only our government. It's because the commercial radio stations are controlling the monopoly and they're controlling what needs to be heard on air. So what we do as a radio station, we literally pushing the artists that are not there, people that don't hear it.
Good.
I mean, today I got a song from one of our presenters, and she said, Sebastian, I actually wrote the song, and it's sang by Alban Petersen. And I had heard the song, and I'm like, oh my God, it's beautiful, it's stunning, it's amazing. So well done, Jenny, for that kind of things. So now I send it to my presenters, I say, put this on your playlist so that people can hear this kind of music. Here's a teacher writing amazing songs, but we don't play it because we want to become commercialized like that. So yeah.
So the vested interests that are already around in the commercial radio stations are sort of dictating that they're afraid of independent media radio. It's in your example, you're pulling as much numbers as FM, AM listenership. And they are making it harder for you. They're going to put independent radio stations, independent content producers into a place where they have to apply for broadcast license.
Regulations and stuff.
Right. And that will, you say that you need to, you have to spend money on your media project. You don't really make money.
We don't make money. And you know what is the difficult thing? And I mean, you guys do podcasts, live podcasts. What people don't realize is that even the media at this current moment, if they see you making too much money, they will start guiding you to different things. They will tell you, but we can't have Roscoe on here because we're already doing something like that. And then YouTube and all these kind of things, they will literally ban you from speaking certain things. And that's literally what they want to do. So podcasting and online radio station is becoming the phenomenon for many across the globe. So much that in 2030 in South Africa, currently now we're sitting with 47% of online radios that people are tuning into. We actually, Afrikaap Radio is one of the 4 largest online radio stations in South Africa.
Oh, you're on DSTV?
No,
my question is, why not? Why wouldn't you be?
You see, if you go on places like DSTV, then you must be conformed to their patterns. We were approached by a commercial radio, and they wanted to buy me out for 150,000 rand. I was like, because how do you push the numbers? And you know what they want to do? They don't want to buy us out because they think we've got a brilliant brand. They want to buy us out because we're taking the consumers.
Uh-huh.
And so and we've got a middle class, upper class type of consumer. And radio is about consuming. So you look at the person that will say, okay, I will go buy a BMW. That is the person that, en ons praat van BMW's, van ons die Weskaap, pak hulle BMW's heel dag. But that's the kind of listenership that we will have. So a radio or a commercial place like Media 24 will take us out because we're taking that client away from them.
So they will just park you, basically.
They will park you. So they'll say, okay, we'll give you 150,000 rand. So if I was a hungry man, I would say, take the 150,000 rand. Poof, then they'll tell you. So now, then they close down the website, they close down the station, then there's no Afrikaap. But they will literally reserve that name for them and it belongs to them because we registered as a radio station. I'm a PTY Ltd radio station. They will park you there and then poof, you can't do radio. Now you must start from the beginning again. And what people don't understand, so they will take your Facebook, they will take your WhatsApp group, they will take your website, they will take everything and literally kill you. And for the person that will take it, because there's 3 or 4 radio stations around there, the online radio, they paid one guy 10,000 rand. Said to him, close it. 10,000 rands, Roscoe.
Right, so, okay, so you actually dropped a bomb here. You said that you were offered, bear in mind, you have an audience up to 60,000 listeners.
A day.
A day, around in 3 countries.
No. Across the globe. Across
the globe, but in New Zealand, because the main SEO territories are the US, the UK, Australia, followed closely by Canada and New Zealand. If you have media reach into those things and up to 60,000 international listeners a day, you're saying that somebody looked at that and said, this man is doing too well. I think give him 150,000 rand. And then take him out for that big audience.
For that big audience, and you know what? And maybe I might be wrong, but you know, for the past 2-3 weeks, we had so much issues with our internet, and I sometimes think they sabotage our internet and our flow of our signal, because then people will say, "Listen here, we're struggling with this, we're struggling with that," and yes, sir. Oh. And for me it was something that was hectic, and we struggled with it. And so I was always asking, so why are these people doing this to us? Why are they sabotaging our listeners? Why are they sabotaging? And I mean, for me as a radio station, I would like say no, but we're not like a threat to anyone. In the meantime, we are.
You are a threat.
Because the kind of conversations that we also have is conversations that literally it can destroy a lot of people. So so that's what we do as a radio station.
Yeah. Okay, look, that's to have that audience, that big audience and that bigger market share, and to be offered 150K is like frankly insulting.
It's pathetic.
Did they come back with another offer? Or?
No, they won't come back for another offer because I told them to go to hell.
Good for you, right? But we're seeing this phenomenon of different, because all over Cape Town, all over South Africa, all over the world, or these alternative media things are popping up. While we're talking, Nantel, could you bring up that thing about the trust in media index? Because apart from losing market share, there's also a lack of faith in the media that's happening. So there was a report by the Reuters Institute. They did a digital news report, and it measures the trust in the media in all different countries. So if you look at South Africa, you have in terms of TV, radio, and print. At the top, they gauge us by weekly use. No, not that one. That one is that one. Yeah.
I think you must drag it again like you did.
Yeah, you got to open it on the desktop. So effectively, we're looking at TV, radio, and print, and this is in terms of what trusted media. At the very bottom of the list of TV, radio, and print is SAFM. in terms of the trust that people have in this. And this is not just like some Roscoe Palm says that I don't like SAFM thing. This is the Reuters Institute digital news report. They issue one every year. So Ukhozi FM, City Press, community newspapers, Sowetan Citizen. This is all the least trusted. The most trusted is SABC 1, 2, and 3. Then ENCA, even though it's a score out of, I think it's the 100. They're scoring a 50. I stand to be corrected, so maybe. But you can see there that, and then online, News 24, 70, a score of 70. At the bottom, you've got Eyewitness News. Also, they have, they're owned by Prime Media, Sowetan Live. Daily Maverick has a very low trust rating, IOL. All these scores are sort of in the low teens. And I think that's also important in a way, because besides losing numbers to independent media, they're also losing a kind of a trust and a connection to the people that they're trying to reach.
Yeah, and you know what's the sad part? Out of all that names that you see there, it's only 3 companies that actually control that whole, all of them. Like ENCA, Media 24 owns ENCA News 24. They own Times Live, and most of them.
And then Prime Media is Eyewitness News. Prime Media is the Cape Talk.
Yeah, it's the big papas. And so those are the guys that literally wants to kill you in the industry, because obviously it is also like what I said to guys. They want journalists when they want to go on there. You don't need journalists. When I was younger, we had what we called grassroots journalists. People that literally will go onto the streets of the communities and get the information that they want. These what you're just showing here now is people that will talk about international stuff and all these kind of things, but it's also media that they would tune it according to what they want people to know.
Funders and people connected to the boards and their network of.
And if you look even like the Russia, and I mean I'm going to go there. If you look at the Russia and Ukraine war, there is CNN that will have their way of saying to what Russia is busy dying, and then someone else will say, but Russia is not. Russia is doing well. Same in South Africa, Media 24 will tell the ANC is this bad and all this kind, and then you have news. What do you call it? Newsroom Africa that will actually be more laying to the ANC and all this. So that kind of things. Then you get us. That's radio. I mean, someone just told me that earlier. That's what's my fluke daar so. And because we are raw, we are genuine. But what I'm saying is that we raw and people want that kind of things. People like that. Like that's why you will see platforms like TikTok and these things that is basically growing so fast. Why? Is because you get news that are out there. You get that news like that guy that you saw that was kicked, just like that. Unfiltered. And you know what is the thing, Roscoe, is that because we're walking with a camera every day, the news will come to us before it actually goes to the big medias.
Yes, nobody faults it. Nobody filters it. Nobody decides what order it must go in a news report.
Yeah.
Because they only, in news broadcast and radio, they decide, look, they only got time for like 4 stories and vox pops for that, sound clips, and then the important story maybe important to the community might be dropped completely.
There we go. So us as independent media houses, I don't know if you can call us that.
I would call you a media house. Yeah.
But so people like us, we literally will say, let me hear what Roscoe wants to say about that 50 cars or 60 cars. Because there's radio stations and also media houses that won't even tell people about that. There's radio stations or media houses that won't tell about that gentleman or a bergie that was kicked by police. But we would get those kind of things because our audience sends it to us. They will tell us, listen, this is happening. There's people that will give us on the dot news, immediately saying, there's an accident now on N1, it was the R300, 7 people just died now. Before it gets to, because they must send the journalists out first, dan het ons alles dit. And I think that's why that numbers is literally dropping of everyone. And what I'm going to say to you, Roscoe, and I might be killed one day by this, what I'm saying, but FM, AM, and even the normal SABC and those people will literally be disappearing in the near future. The future now is these kind of things, where you literally have people developing themselves, because many of us that start these kind of things has not done these kind of things ever in our lives. But the world has grown so fast that we can go onto Google and teach ourselves how to freaking work a mic. And that's what makes it so awesome. But then we also have to develop what type of information do we want to send out. Like you guys have what they call the Cape Conscious. So you want to make people conscious of the things that are really happening, and not that what they call that beautiful news that they want to bring out, the news that they want you to see. No, we bring out the raw things. We will tell you about the gangster that killed a person. We will talk about that guy that's going to be released after 30 years, the Station Strangler. But we will give the raw part of it. We won't talk about the nice things about it and whatever. Because my thing because I'm going to talk about it next week about is the release. I'm going to talk about the fact, is this man actually really ready for the world? Because for 30 years he's been in prison. How is he literally going to be, is he really going to be set out there? Because no one is giving him a chance. Because my bro, toe hy man tronk toe gaan 1993, Roscoe, toe's internet nie eens daar nie. Toe hy man tronk toe gaan, toe ken hy man nie een smart TV, toe ons nog die box TV wat swart en wit speel. When that man went to prison, there was no microwaves.
I'm worried about this. There's another side of the Station Strangler thing, and I sent you not another side, but the fact that he got life in prison and is out for consideration for parole.
No, it's not consideration. It's actually coming out now.
Look, I'm going off this in the IOL story. That's rather from the Daily Voice. They said they are consulting because he has been granted parole. And he will be released on July 20.
So he will be
They've apparently already consulted the victim's family or will now speak to other families. So it doesn't mean that the process is a done deal. But my problem with this is that he was linked to to dozens of murders, 22, but he was only convicted for the one. So I don't want to comment further on it, but I would say that they must reopen those other investigations, because if the intent was just to get somebody in there as quickly as possible and forget about sending him in there for life, for the natural term of his life, I think there's a huge problem. The thing that I have, that I take issue with this, because last year, South African Human Rights Commissioner Chris Nissen called for Simons to be released, saying he had done his time. Nissen told The Week in August, I was present when the bodies were discovered. I took the late former president Nelson Mandela to the house of the Samai family. I'm of the opinion that the law has already taken its course. Simons had paid for his mistakes, whether he did one or others, leave it in God's hands. I don't agree with that. Yeah. Whether he did one or others, and I know that Chris Nissen was the Human Rights Commissioner, but
the Western Cape.
He's wrong there.
I'm not gonna go into that kind of debate.
Okay, I just wanted to say that it was shocking. I mean, I thought the guy, we'd send him away like for life. Life means life.
I worked in correctional services, so when you tell someone that he's gonna go into for life is 25 years.
Yes.
So you can, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. But it's a law that's for me is very funny. When you say you're sending someone for life, that means he must die there. But if the guy serves up to 25 years, then he's eligible for parole. This man has served 30 years, and so now the saying goes out. And in fact, I saw the pictures now. That man don't even look like I've worked with him. He's fat and thick, and he did his master's in education, and he's brilliant in what he's doing. But that's that.
Did you work with him?
Eh?
Did you work with him?
Yes, I worked with him. I was a deputy director in the Department of Correctional Service, so I've worked with him personally. So that was my little bit of contribution to the society when I worked for government. But what I'm just to come back with all these kinds. So what I'm saying is that we as radio stations and also media, we bring stuff out draw, like you just now did there now. They will want to know for Chris now, I'll be attacked.
I'm not attacking Chris. I'm saying I'm playing the ball, not the man.
Yeah,
I'm saying this is wrong, in my opinion. Yeah.
What I'm saying is that's basically what you're doing. You're saying, I'm not happy with this. And that is what people wants to hear. That is what people wants to know. And because there is thousands of people that will sit with the same opinion like you. So you're not going to go there nice and say, oh, they're going to release the man and whatever. And no, you literally saying, to hell with him. I don't want him to come out. I want to know what happened with the other 30 or the 20 or whatever. And that is what people want to know. Because at the end of the day, we are here to inform people of what is reality. Media, let me say, the commercial media don't inform people. They do what we will call, there's a word that I'm trying to get in my mind now, sensational media.
Clickbait. They need the clicks.
They need the clicks. So what is clicking now? So if there's something like Julius Malema, regardless of if the thing with the man that was kicked now the other day is important, but Julius Malema is got the clicks. Now we will bring out the geskopte man and we will say, this one are absolutely strong. There's no what but the aangaan. We will talk like that because we want people to have the concept of understanding. Julius Malema is important, but Julius Malema media is making money out of Julius Malema. That man that just got kicked there, he don't get a cent for being kicked, but he's important to us because life is important. That's what makes our conscious, and that's what we want to tell people out there. Let me just show you here. In fact, I'm live on our stream now, or on our thing that we do. So currently there's 44,200, that was for today. And in South Africa alone, we had 32,321 listeners today. In New Zealand, 4,729. Canada, 1,067. In fact, Canada used to be 200, 300 people. But since we've got a presenter there, it literally grew. So they're the third largest. And then the United States dropped because the United States was on top. And so they've got 979 that basically have. So what I've also done, I've also what we link to other radio stations. Like we've got a radio station in Brazil that we basically work with, and they link to us. So they will play, like when we present from South Africa, because they say they love our accent, they love the type of music that we play, and they find us very interesting because they say we've got a similar environment in South Africa than is in Brazil. Mm-hmm. And because some of them don't understand the English, but they love our accent, they love our vibrance, they love our music, they love the spontaneous laughs and all these kind of things. And so they literally, and it's an FM radio, they plug into us. And we got literally 6 hours of our time they give to us. And that's so amazing. So that's why we're growing in like Cambodia and Brazil, in Mexico and all those kind of things. And so we see those blue talks every time, like oh Lord, that's Kwaiman, it's brilliant. And that's the relationship that we built with over the year and a half that we've been.
And just to remind you, you were rejected by commercial radio because you were accent. You just took that accent worldwide, and they love it.
You know, Roscoe, and I think that is one thing that I will wish that people would understand. We can never be judged by the way we speak. In fact, people don't know. I also stutter. I stutter. But and you cannot be judged by that. Number two, you can't be judged by where you come from. I come from Manenberg. I'm proudly from Manenberg. But Manenberg didn't make me. I made me. God gave me the ability to do what I do. You can't be judged by what you drive, where you stay, where you live. Okay, toe ek nou hier kom dan camps because that's quite easy. Sorry, means what you like. But anyway, because I was shocked because the first time I'm on this side of the ek ry was al 'n grassy park. I sien ek mos nou die flats en hy hier steek ek dik en hy mense ran camps by hier so brother.
Like that so die dag as oh nee, is grassy park.
Yeah, I mean Roscoe lives there. Roscoe sees the beautiful seaside. Ek bly in die bos. Ek bly in Wynberg.
Ja, grassy park is mos bos. Grassy Park.
You see, the problem with this guy is that he doesn't want to tell people he lives in a nice part of Grassy Park.
Oh yeah.
Ja,
Brett, ek is gebore in Grassy Park, I stay in Grassy Park.
Okay, I'm Rivas through and through, my bro. I'm Rivas through and through. Retreat. Don't matter where I stay, my roots is retreat.
Say like is retreat like anyway, but what I want to say is that people should not judge. And when we start Africa, my idea was that people must be authentic with the way they speak. It must sound proper. It mustn't be like, hi, you speaking to Sebastian Petersen and we are live and I want people to know that when they hear people from Africa, they must know where we are. It's the ethos of Cape Town where we speak and we have got a slang. Ons praat soos die, ons het 'n way van hoe ons express and that for me is the most important thing.
Authenticity
is
important. Yeah. Can we can you pull up the clip of Chad? So I wanted to show you another example of something that one of our Cape Conscious Media brothers was doing. So he's using media in a different way. He's a social entrepreneur with a media-facing operation. So these guys go into Parkwood, they do gardens, they do greening community projects. And it's really sort of, I think this is one of the things that media doesn't tend to do. So I just wanted to play a couple of clips and give some shine to our brother Chad. Hope you're doing well, doing really well around these parts. So.
Okay. So, what is life without solid nutrition, a warm meal in your belly?
When I went to Playground the other day, I asked the kids, where does your food come from? And a lot of them said, my food comes from Pick n Pay. That's where they think food comes from, and that's not where food comes from.
At the core of Dr. Falafel, Grow a Garden, Where Rainbows Meet, and all of our wonderful partners, we are trying to empower people to be able to grow their own food, to be able to know about nutrition, and to know exactly what to do with the harvest that they make, a harvest that goes into our patty.
So I always felt that it's very important to share my philosophy and my knowledge with other people. We're about permaculture, we're about planting a seed into the soil and taking what nature gives us and providing that to the people. I think it's something that's sustainable and something that we can take to the masses.
The goal is to remodel our vegan patty and our brainchild, Dr. Falafel, to produce a 22-ingredient patty whose ingredients are grown in the garden, whose inputs are sourced together with the community, and the outcome of that product is used to feed the children. Chad is a phenomenal example of what it means to be a human being. To care for others, to care for the earth, and to care for life.
So I actually met Tumelo in 2018 or 19. I gave him a burger and he loved the burger.
He's a true soul who is connected with the earth and who is instrumental in leading by example.
From the moment he saw me, kind of had this belief in me as a person first.
So they create, it's part of, Chad is involved in many projects, Omni Wellness Media. I think we got the clip from Omni Wellness Media. This is sort of more or less what they do, but just have a look at this and then I'll talk to you about this in the context of the media space.
In a world inundated with noise, where do we find the melody of wellness, consciousness, and change? At Omni Wellness Media, we create more than just content. We craft stories of resilience, wellness, and the human spirit. We bring to life the narrative of those who inspire us, those who challenge us, and those who change us. We are a community dedicated to the service of others. Through our transformative projects, we aim to make a real difference, one story at a time. Here, every story has a purpose and every voice matters. Omni Wellness Media, we create content that creates change. Join us on this journey.
That's Omni Wellness Media. Chad, well done. So what they do...
That's respected to Chad, man.
Yeah, they follow them on TikTok, follow them on Facebook, Twitter, find them on all the channels. So they go into these communities, they go into Parkwood and they create gardens like the Dr. Falafel. They create all the ingredients, they grow all the ingredients and they create the vegan patty. But there are a number of other projects that they're involved in, but extends right down to reforming violent societies like in Parkwood, so that we don't have this prison to the community to prison pipeline back into the community, back into prison, this like vicious cycle. And this entire thing is a media facing project. You know, you won't find like a News 24 and an independent that's grown in the community and has this stay in the community and create these bonds of trust, and then also build to compete with big commercial.
No, definitely. And I think, like, you know, with him doing that and the platform that you guys just gave him now for this, I mean, it was like probably a minute or so. In the big media world, that would have cost him literally 15,000 rand. Yeah,
Chad, I'm going to invoice you.
I could never charge Chad because Chad was instrumental in the next step from. I had a lot of names for this platform already, but Chad is the integral part of the Cape Conscious name. So he's definitely. I feel that we will never compete. I will always try to help him. You know what I'm saying? And I feel the same reversed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
But that's the beauty of independent media, because we are not here to play to wanting to be better than each other. In the commercial media, yes, they do that because they want money. We do this because we want to be conscious. We want people to understand what is happening. I mean, no one would have known Chad if this platform was not here.
No. Everybody would have known Chad if he's not. Chad
no, but what
Chad
I mean,
will find
there's many other Chads.
Yes.
No,
there's only one Chad.
No, what I'm saying is that like we create platforms for people that is unknown to the world. And the more powerful thing about this is that I just check now, like on my WhatsApp, and I've got so many people that now sending me these photos because No Lincoln was famous. Like, look here. I look cool. Look at me. Is there a close up on it? Like, look at me, close up, so people can actually take a photo. I'm joking. Come on. But what I'm saying is that you guys, like, you do this in visual media, that you give opportunities to people. You don't give this in commercial. We do it on platforms on our radio. Where we give people opportunities that never ever had opportunities. I'm going to take example again. A lady like Claudine Cornelius that never had the opportunity to do radio or anything like that, came on a show and she did what they call grieving widows. And I never thought that thing would actually blow up to where she became one of the great or the biggest or the second or third biggest presenter on our show. And the thing is, we don't realize what we have until we give someone an opportunity. And that's the beauty of what we do as radio and stuff like that. And so that's basically that.
And you know, you say that you don't want money, you don't need, but the thing needs money. How do you build, how do you commercialize it, but still with a conscience?
Listen here, for us as independent media, we do need money. So we try to get even those that want to advertise on radio but can't afford that 15,000, 30,000, 40,000 people. Literally, we can't, they can't, pay for commercials. So then we come up, like what our radio station does, we charge people as little, and I lie you not, as 950 Rand a month. To literally, and then we do an ad. So I just heard your producer now making a quiet background goedetjies daar. So ek gaan saam praat om vir ons te help met daai soort goede to create ads.
I was a witness to that promise.
And so what I'm saying is that we basically want to give businesses that is small that opportunity to be on air. So we make our money to survive, but we can't. Roscoe, at my age, I cannot make money to live a comfortable life. If I probably have done this 20 years ago, then yes, then I would have been a P4 and a hard one of 4.9. But I started in my age. I'm 49 years old, and I literally started late. So I won't be able to make money, but I can have a sustainability so that others can get a platform. So yeah.
I want to take some comments. I'm going to start to the bottom up. Nereen, and they even worked in Where Rainbows Meet, who have been in studio in Afrikaap. CC says, lockdown caused all these new ideas to spring forth, everything online. And then Chad, thanks for watching, Chad. How accurate are the insights for listenership?
Our accuracy is basically, because we're online, we have an accuracy of our platform. So when people log on, you can see immediately the log on. It's not like FM. FM is never accurate. People will say we got a million viewers.
It's Rams then?
It's Rams.
The Rams, yeah.
So they basically have a stokkie wat we say, okay, we've got approximately, with us as online radio, there's not approximately, it is like, they will tell you there's 5 people on there, there's 2 people. We can pinpoint even in Cape Town that this is it. So I don't know if Chad can see, but I'm going to show him now. Like, even if I go onto our platform, I don't know if you guys can maybe.
Probably won't.
Send me a screenshot now.
Okay, let me send you a screenshot. Yeah. So what happens is that this thing that we got now at this moment is basically updating every 15 minutes, and it will tell you there's like 500 whatever. So I can literally see. Let me just even send you that thing there. Our original stats. So you can literally see how it is growing or it's going down. So sometimes I will tell my presenters that, listen, you guys, we are dropping in numbers or we are increasing in numbers, because we can see it. And every week we get an update to say that you've maybe gone up 3%, or you have gone down 3% or 10% or 15%. When we started off, we were always in the minus. A year after that, we're always now going into the plus. We are now probably sitting, I can actually show you, we're sitting now, let me just get that stats quickly. Okay.
The question that I would want to ask. Okay.
So you can see there. So it shows there that green, that's 72%. So we've grown to 72%.
I've got one on the screen now.
Okay. Yeah. So that's basically how it works.
This is today.
So this is today. So that's a live thing, and
just break down the count. So on the left it says the territory South Africa.
Okay,
and
so
the first figure is 32,000.
Okay, just go down quickly on the figure. Let me just show you. So the 32,000, that's people listening. The 12,000, that's unique IP addresses. So that's unique people that like you guys know how the unique.
Yeah.
And then the 10,408, that's so how long people has been listening today.
So
for minutes, yeah.
Minutes.
So that's 10,000 minutes that have been listening to our shows and stuff like that. So it will break it down for you up to the second of telling you that person listened for 2 minutes or 10 seconds or 5 seconds. And then we will know where to basically go into and say, okay, we must maybe advertise more there, or we must push there, or stuff like that. Or when we look at our, if we look at our advertisers, we can tell them that our where we can advertise for you is in Cape Town, because people are listening for 2 hours constantly, and from this time to that time. So that's basically how it works. Then this blue thing that you see here, that's basically, you see the dark blue, that's South Africa at this moment, and that's people that's constantly sitting on there. And then you see all the other blues, that's basically people in that country. So then you can go down and see, like you saw the numbers. That's basically how we know. And that's our regional stats. That's not stats that we can make up. We can't say to people, no, we got 500,000, but it's a bit.
But commercial radio makes up these stats. They kind of pull it out their arse, suck it out their thumb, and says, and from those made up stats, they determine what the rate card is for advertisers.
There we go.
So now with you, with verified 50,000 listeners on a given day, why aren't BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and why aren't they knocking down your door to advertise to the market, to the market that you have?
Because you know what the problem is, because they are locked down to other radio stations because the commercial radio stations like your Media 24s and those people literally will lock you down to say to them that you are for 5 years locked down with us. So you can't go and advertise on another radio station or something like that, even with political parties. That's the funny part. Political parties literally lock themselves down to certain radio stations, and then these radio stations will charge them crazy monies. Roscoe, it's like 45 to 60 million rand per annum that these radio stations will get from these political entities, from government, all those kind of things, because they lock them down. SAFM, and I don't scared even to mention them. Cape Talk, News 24, News African, all this kind of. So they literally, political parties buy time from them, and then they will lock them down for a few. So they can't just go to another radio station and say, okay, we also want to be part of you. Then they will lose that. They will lose that deal with them.
Yeah, and obviously that's bad, and almost as bad is the case where some DJs, some presenters, some stations give free advertising to political parties.
Yeah.
I don't think they can, eh?
No, they can't. They absolutely can't.
No, they can't, because this I know for a fact. So when I was at Good Hope, when it comes to the elections,
they must pay.
Obviously they must pay, but they would tell us, like, don't mention anything about a political party. Rather just play it and just don't say anything. Because I remember 2 of my colleagues was in trouble because there was a joke that they make, the media, but they went for a hearing because somebody said the job was like they're favoring the one.
That's crazy.
So it's
very touchy, dude. I can give an example of free political advertising.
Okay.
Every time I listen to Wackhead Simpson on 94 on KFM in the morning, I hear this guy going, "Hi, Mr. Mayor. Oh, it's good to. I love you, Mr. Mayor." It's like, "Oh, good job on the water and the rates, Mr. Mayor." It's like, that's why I moved from Joburg, Mr. Mayor. Things are much safer, Mr. Mayor. I love you, Mr. Mayor. Fucking Wackhead Simpson just giving this guy like, "Oh, Mr. Mayor, please, Mr. Mayor, like me, Mr. Mayor, please." You know. So like, you know, there is a definite bias by certain people of a certain hue to certain political instincts, without even calling into question all of the things that are happening, like on the other side of the railway line.
So there is that kind of thing, and so that's why like BMWs and those people won't come to us, because they lock down to these commercial things.
I want to say something, and that what you're saying now does not only happen in. We're gonna have to be honest. If we're gonna be in the new media, we're gonna have to be honest amongst ourselves also, man.
Yes.
So what you just mentioned now is that they're going to say, "Oh, Mr. Mayor," and not tell the stories the crap that's happening, right? So even in new media, and I've seen it in this podcast, and I'm not going to mention his name, but he had the Minister of Mobility in. Right? No. He had him in.
Ricardo McKenzie, yeah.
Yeah, but he had the safety and security guy also in.
Regan Allen,
yes. Right? So we had him in. A few weeks after that, or months after that, he had Puckett in and that. We spoke about safety and security and complaining. But now I'm like,
why didn't you say that to us, the MEC?
You know what I'm saying?
When he was there.
But the thing is this, the person won't, or let me just say it, man. The person won't, because there's benefit towards giving them, I call it huisgenoot interviews, where it's softballs. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that relationship actually, I figured now, this is actually tarnishing my thing that I'm trying to do, where I am against the DA, not because it's just the DA, because you are in power here, and I see stuff that happens that you dropping the ball. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna be. It might seem, if I call the bra out, that he's got a bigger audience, and it might seem like I'm punching up, but I feel that we need to be honest with each other, man. In this new form, or new media form, and call each other out. Okay, I don't like the way you did that report on that, man, because this and this and this. You know what I'm saying? And you've been seen with at the rugby and stuff like that, man. So but it's tickets that is given to you by the DA, man.
By the city or by the province or by institutions.
Let's put it the city or individuals, you know what I'm saying? So you already putting yourself in a very bad light, man. When you do that, man. All I'm saying is take your tickets, gaan kyk die rugby, whatever. But when they come
ask the minister
ask them decent questions, but even if you're not politically inclined, get somebody that can ask a question like that and don't shy away, man. And don't laugh if people call your guests out because they were racist to Malema, man. Those that know will know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I don't want to mention name and make it sour. But the thing is in going forward, I promise that I will be becoming more vocal when it comes to this media space, man. Because if the one is gonna fuck it up, at the end of the day, we're gonna end up like the SABCs, where you can't really say what you want, or you know what I'm saying. So we are still very young and we can regulate this thing, man. You know
we kind of need to be our own kind of like almost like ICASA in a way.
Yeah. So the thing is this, and I mean, I've spoken to you and I've spoken to a few others. I think we need to formulate a group of media houses that literally going to become conscious to the wrong of what they call the commercial radio does. Because remember, because the DA governs in the Western Cape, radio stations will be prone to be more leaning towards the DA. If I lived in Johannesburg, Power FM is more leaning to ANC. SAFM, they literally have a balance of Western Cape, DA, in KwaZulu-Natal, the IFP, in Johannesburg, the ANC. And that's the kind of things. And what my thing is this, and that's why I say for us to basically become who we are, we need to basically become as raw as possible. Because if you look at what happens in the USA, those podcasters don't care if Donald Trump is going to kill them. If they want to tell you that Donald Trump is shithead, they will tell it. They will tell you about Joe Biden. I mean, their comedians go on live podcast and rip through the government. We still want to be shy away, and we're like, oh no, because many of us, like the other day we had a conversation, and people's like, why don't you ask this one for money in the government? I said, listen, I've been in government, and I know the minute I get a 10 cents from any government official, I am bought. That's the scary part. I will rather go to a business, independent business, says, man, fund me 20,000 Rand to do this. But the minute I go and I ask the city of Cape Town for 200,000 Rand to literally do what I do, I am bought. Then I need to be conscious to what they want me to say. And that's the saddest part of being in a city that that has been led by an old apartheid system. I don't want to do politics. I live politics. But that's basically what I say. And so I believe, Roscoe, most of all of us, like your guys with Cape Conscious, Afrikaap, Wave Radio, East Radio. I'm not even afraid to mention the names because I don't feel threatened by any one of this. All of us must come together and say, guys, let's formulate and then have discussions on things. So when we can share information, we can share it amongst each other. You do video media, we do radio media, but we can literally share. So if you have information, you can share it with me. I will share it with East Radio. I will share it with this one, that one. But at the end of the day, we will become so powerful that commercial radio stations would be afraid of us. And by the time they are afraid of us, we're already an engine. Because independently, I can do what I can do, but if they stop me, they stop me. Because they know that I need maybe 15,000 Rand a month. They will drag that thing to 20, 30, 40,000. Then I must tell the guys, let's close down. And you know how many good radio stations close down because they can't afford to do what they were doing. If I look at the setup here, this for you it might look like simple, but this is literally close to 500,000. That's literally
don't
laying
give
around.
away the secrets, dude.
No, but what I'm saying, but what people don't understand, but it comes from one person that literally invested in what he wants to do because he wants to become what he is. So now he can grab that mic and say, F you, and I'm gutful of this one, because he created that space. We need to make that space bigger because for Cape Conscious to do what they're doing, they need an Afrikaap. Because now Afrikaap has got the listenership of this. Then we can say, go listen to Roscoe Palm's show. And then you're going to hear the producer pulling out there. And he's more going to say, yo, ma's goede. And it's gatvol van die mensen there. But that is what people needs to know. Because the energy of people out there is not the rah. The energy of people is there that will say what he just said now. Ek is nou gatvol in die ma's het goede. And that is what we need to bring over. Because our conversation that we have must not only be a conversation of beautiful things and 60 cars has been standing, dusting. That's not only 60 cars. That's 890,000 rands, one car. So that's 65 million rand that's standing there, while 65 million could have been used to freaking go and fix a pothole here in the road. So 65 million. So we need to talk like that because people want to know that. But when you're going to be bored by government officials, my bro, it's in your mind. I'll give you a rugby ticket, dan sit jy daar saam in die box, dan kan jy nie meer sleg praat van hulle.
And I think we've seen examples of that.
So, I think
there's too much at stake, man, for personal luxuries, man. That's going to last you 45 minutes. And I get. We tend to struggle and creating these platforms and stuff like that, and you feel okay, someone is giving you something nice, and you want to spoil yourself and family-wise and whatever. I really get that, but for me, I always ask myself, at what cost, man? At what cost? We can't even maybe. That's why I don't like taking pics with anybody, you know, because people might die in as a chummy as dying and then you know what I'm saying. So I just want to be really my aim is just to be uncancelable, man. Because when we work together, whatever, we work on our paperwork and stuff like that, the ethos is freedom of speech. That's the eerste thing. If we forsake that, then this thing isn't worth it anymore. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the problem with what we have in our country, is that freedom of speech is only for certain people.
Yes.
That's the scary part. But anyway, we're not going to talk about that. So that's what I do. So I've got media. I believe that we're going to grow continuously. I believe in my team of presenters. I believe in everyone that literally also invested. And I'm going to say this again. A friend of mine, Joey Cornelius, he passed away in 2021. On the 3rd of October, I've seen him pass away. And he was instrumental in literally investing, not when he was alive, but when he was dead, in the radio station. So I still want to say thank you to those people that invested. As ek praat oor hom, wil ek net deel. But anyway, but that's the kind of things that we're doing. So for us, Afrikaap is going to be here for a while, and I believe that we as independent media, we need to formulate a group, and we must say to each other, let's take this thing to the next level.
I agree with that. Let's talk about some of the beautiful things in life. Let's talk about music.
Of course.
Because, besides you being a government official, Department of Correctional Services, when I met you, you were, we were both in the Marx building. And I knew you as a politician, and then I got to know you as a musician. And what a musician you are. Let's play this clip.
I hope that's a nice clip.
That's the one you sing. Manus.
Was oud, man.
But you are a jazz musician, through and through, 100% Cape Town jazz musician.
I love music, first of all. So I grew up in church, and I'm a Petersen. So if your surname is a Petersen and you can't play an instrument, then you're not a genuine Petersen. the Petersen clans are literally, whether you Tully Petersen's family, whether you Lionel Petersen, whether you Oscar Petersen, all of us can play a bloody instrument. So I grew up in Manenberg, and the way we could get through the apartheid was to express ourselves through music. So my uncle he bowled me a blick guitar and literally beat my fingers up because I couldn't play the chords. And so I started playing music from the age of 6. My grandfather wanted me to play the violin. I wish I could have followed that, because the violin is a beautiful instrument. And so as I grew up, I started becoming politically inclined. And then I heard people like, I can't get to this guy's name. He's a bass guitar player from Langa. And so when I got involved in the politics, I used to hide in Langa, Guguletu, and those stuff. And then I started playing guitar. And that was our way of expressing ourselves out of anger, because I'm not a violent person, but my instrument became my voice of how I want to sound. And so that's when I started playing music, and music was always in my life. It's always been there. And I created the song, and then with a friend of mine, Joey, and just as we were busy trying to fix it up, and then he passed away. So Allo April is now busy with a song that I'm going to release hopefully in the summer.
How often do you still play and perform and record?
Yo, my bro, I'm 49 years old. I can't even keep that guitar. I perform still, like I do a lot of the Cape Town scenes. I don't do nightclubs anymore because I have my reasons why I don't do it. But I play at the Wave Cafe, but they closed down at the bottom. They're now at the theatre, so we're going to, hopefully in the summer, we'll go to the theatre with Clarence for them. And I've done the Cape Town Jazz Festival. I've done the Jazzathon. I've done the Moss Jazz. I've been on the jazz cruise ship. I've been overseas. I've performed in Germany, in Australia, in the USA. I've performed in Africa, South Africa, everywhere I've been performing. And so I'm still playing and stuff like that. But I need to let my guitar go down. Ek moet nog eers anders moet ek nou doen.
What do you want to stop playing guitar?
Ja, bro, man.
Why?
Ek is moeg. Ek is moeg, man.
Yeah.
Ek kan nie meer speel. Ek wil net my guitar kopie.
When I listen to Afrikaap, I hear a lot of your influence in it in terms of like the jazz, particularly in your show from 9 to 12. You got the drive time slot.
I always try, Roscoe, to play music that is South African. Like I love my Basil Kutsi, Abdullah Ibrahim. I was a guitarist for Robbie Jansen. I was his guitarist after Allo April did his project. And just before Robbie Jansen passed away, that lady is actually from Joburg there. It's Ruth Petersen.
All the Petersens are musicians. That's a fact.
That's a fact. And in fact, when what I want to say is that before Robbie passed away, Robbie said to me, Sebastian, create your own style. Let people know you, because a lot of musicians, they play behind someone, but then they're brilliant, but they never ever go in front. And when I stepped out and I became that person, I literally made a name for myself. So I traveled the world. In fact, I started with a lady called Celeste Williams, and then I was a horrible guitar player. But Celeste Williams believed in me, and she brought me into the international stage. My first performance was actually at the Cape Town, the Cape Town Jazz Festival. And that's where I played. And to speel ek vals my bro, but ek speel, ek is amper 'n regte bruin wat kan speel. But I had to create my style and what I do. So everywhere I go, whatever I do, I will always have that influence of my music, especially South African music. I hate playing international music. That song that you just heard now was Chilo Chilo, Rema Keba. And I try to play try not to play international music. I try to play my own music, because the identity must be found in who you are, and not who the George Benson is or who the Earl Klug is. Everyone knows them, but people want to know who Sebastian Petersen is. In fact, so much when I went to Germany, I played at Birdland restaurant, all the big names. So one of the big guys' band was what's the guy's name now? I'll get his name. And then I called tunes out to them and I said, I want to play this. And they're like, bro, where are you from? I'm like, I'm from Africa. So why do you want to play American music? They said, give us what you know. And so I gave them 3 chords, my bro. I slapped Welcome to Cape Town. And these guys were jamming behind me. As klomp boere wat agter my sit, die German ouens. And Roscoe, I was paid 40,000 Rand for playing a half an hour my music. And I was so proud of it. When I went to Australia, I was booked in 2010 by a couple, and they said, bring your music, play who you are. And when I did that, they paid. In fact, I was supposed to stay there for a weekend. I stayed there for a whole 30 days because people wanted to hear our music. What South African musicians don't understand, the problem with us is we want to be like America, but America actually wants us to be us, and they want to hear us. And when they hear our music, Cubans want to hear us because they say we are so unique in our music. But the problem is, that's why people like Amapianos and this kind of things, they make money in the USA. Dan wil ons hierso vir wat is die mense se name speel wat absolutely niks beteken nie. When I lived in the States, I can walk into a restaurant and then George Benson will be playing it, and then that man will go sit at the bar and drink and no one will worry about him. And I'm like, why? It's because they used to him there. He comes here, we treat him like a king. They don't care about George Benson there. They don't care about Earl Klugh, Kirk Whalum and all those kind of, because they're used to those big names. When we go there and we play our, like, what's his name? When Yuma Masekela went to the USA, Miriam Makeba, Abdullah Ibrahim and these guys, when they went to the USA, Jimmy Dludlu, man, they were treated like kings and queens because that's uniqueness of Africa, my Oswald American music speel.
We also don't really, we take our musicians for granted a lot. You mentioned Robbie Jansen. I mean, there are lots of, we have families of jazz royalty. Well, in Cape Town particularly, you talk about the Shoulders, you talk about these other, Zane Adam, Pacific Express.
Zane Adam died poor, Robbie Jansen died poor. In fact, we had to raise money for these guys. Errol Dias died poor. What's his name that just passed away now from the Rockets, died poor. Why? Is because we would pay 7,000 to 1,000 Rand for a ticket to see Tamia. That this guy, they laugh now because they didn't.
No, I didn't. Not for Tamia.
But you know what is the sad part is when we do a show, I charge my shows is nothing less than 100 Rand. People won't buy it. Why? Is because I don't have a big name like that. But what people don't understand, the more you're going to buy a ticket to see local music, the more they're going to grow that name. Tell me any big name currently in South Africa that's making it international, besides Lira. That was. No one. Because the problem is, Roscoe, we want to make Americans big, but Americans are not that big as they proclaim. I live there, I know that. And yet we have talent beyond talent in South Africa. You look at the Chad Simons, you look at these guys work on my nerves, but Temple Boys. People across the world saw what they did. Amapiano music, you look at Amazolo, whatever the guy's name, all these big names. These people make big noises across the world. But in our local state, we can't. That's why I use our radio station to make sure that we play this music, that people will know who Robbie Jansen is, who's Abdullah Ibrahim, who's Basil Kutsi, who's Miriam Makeba, who's Alu April, who's Leslie Javan, who's these people, because they are the people that has created who we are today.
You see, that's why I wanted to talk to you, because we could have a discussion about anything and everything, good, bad, beautiful, and ugly. I see you looking at your watch. We usually go 2.5 hours. We still got all of that.
No, I'm all right. I'm all right.
But yeah, no.
I think you'll have a skin for me like a beer of his like. No, I'm joking. I don't drink. I don't drink or smoke. I do water.
What I really like about sitting down and talking with somebody for a long time. You can see they used to like the 5-minute interview, the 5-minute soundbite, but then after 5 minutes, then it becomes a conversation, and then the guard really drops after like 2 hours, whatever.
Yeah.
So, but there's no guard for you to drop between you and me because we was chummies for a long time.
No, there's no guard, because the thing is this. I think for me, it's about the respect. And regardless of our different opinions on politics, we've always had respect towards each other. And I think that's what makes this thing so beautiful. In media, if you don't have respect to the next person, you will never ever make it. If I'm not going to respect Cape Concerts and what they're doing, they will never invite me again here. And I think that's the most important thing, because ek wil weer terugkom hier so met miskien my hele team so maar kon sê kyk hoe kwailik die mense in die studio en soos Ninsel en hy mense ek wil sê stiek dit hier man, miskien kan ons iets kolleë hier so.
You see, I came to your studio as expecting a huisgenoot interview, and Peter Herring gave me a ride there.
No,
you went left and right, and I had to duck and weave. It was good, man.
We don't do that. We try to literally speak the truth and literally have.
I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that.
So that's what it is, and I think for all of us in South Africa, if we can't respect each other and our portfolios of what we do as independent media, you're gonna lose. There is a lot of guys that's got this kind of thing of they want to be on their own, they want to be an island. In media, you can't be an island. That I can tell you right now, because at the end of the day, I walked in here, I was greeted by you guys, and when I spoke to your producer,
he's not my producer, by the way. He's my friend, my partner, and in fact, everything you see is the brainchild of. I sit on the shoulder of a giant there.
But what I'm saying is that he's your producer because he produces everything that is going on here, so he does all the camp. But what I'm saying is that when I came in here and we spoke and stuff, he wasn't afraid to tell me what's happening. He wasn't afraid to tell me, listen here, we still struggle with this, and I mean, he even told me, ek weet nie eens hoe om die ding te werk. And in the meantime, denk ek, die bra gaan op my jam op the wyse werk, because we got the same mixer. And I was actually happy when I saw it here, because I'm like, oh, so it actually can work for us also, because we're sitting with the same stuff. But it's about the respect that we have for one another. When I came in, you guys showed me respect. You wasn't tight up or uptight. We had a conversation, we hit it off immediately, and that for me is important. For what we are doing.
I've got one more question for you.
Please.
Why do you think Manchester United are going to finish 7th in the next season? 8th?
You see, Roscoe?
Is this where we part ways? We're talking about beautiful mutual respect and then...
Roscoe, the problem with you just know how to break a beautiful relationship. In fact, let me say this. I am a Stones Man United supporter. Man United has done bad for the last 6 years. And I'm going to say it live. Liverpool has done good for 2 seasons.
Can I clip that?
No, you can clip that. 2 seasons. They did well. 2019, 2020. No, 2020, 2021. No, in fact, 2019, 2020, 2021. So they had to create a COVID period so that Liverpool can win the league.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and after that, poof, it's gone. Don't ever talk to me about, listen here, we can talk about politics, we can even talk about religion.
But I'm not going to touch you on your club.
You don't touch me on my club. I am a Man United supporter. I love Manchester United. I will die for Manchester United. I won't even die for my own country. I will die for Manchester United. No, I'm joking. No. But yeah, don't talk politics, man. Ek sal even met jou debate op politics. Nie met sokker nie. En hy ligter wat jy nou aangepraat van 7 en 8. Julle het 5de geëindig nou, man.
No, we finished 8th.
5th, no.
No, I'm Tottenham. Tottenham, we finished 8th. So I can be critical of anybody. Because nobody has had it harder than I have.
Same Roscoe.
40...
No, Roscoe forever, because you never ever won the league.
In 1961, we won the league.
Is it?
In 1971, we won the FA Cup. In 1981, we won the...
Roscoe, you weren't even born that time.
Yeah, exactly. So you can imagine my pain. But listen, Sebastian.
But let me say this. In fact, I think the problem with Tottenham Hotspurs, ons praat ons maar soccer hier so, but the problem with Tottenham Hotspurs, they are a brilliant club. In fact, they have a history. They have genuine history and they are the top 6 of soccer clubs that you can say they can do well. In fact, I was hoping last season that they could actually win the league. The problem with Tottenham Hotspurs is this. And it already junks the managers. Mm-hmm. And they want to play the same players continuously. They did what Arsenal just did now, where they played the same players the whole season. And I told everybody, Arsenal will never win the league. Because what Tottenham has done, Arsenal did. That's why they dropped. This season, I'm going to tell you, Tottenham will probably end on the top 4.
Okay, before we go, let's have your top 4, your prediction for the top 4.
Oh, Lord.
Champions League spots.
I'm going to say City is going to win again the league this season. It's going to be Liverpool, Manchester United. It will be either Arsenal or Spurs.
Chelsea?
No, Chelsea can't. Chelsea is messed up.
Newcastle?
Newcastle will be top 6. They won't, because Newcastle, they've got the money, but they don't have the managers. Because remember, for any club to do well, they must have the winning mentality, and it's like, as jy koekie geproe het, man, dan verstaan jy wat het proe.
Yeah.
So those guys understood, they tasted a vagina. They tasted EPL. They know what die Bracanians. This is media. So don't you guys, are you not looking for a sports anchor here?
No, yes.
So if they understood that, so Newcastle don't know that. Newcastle is like a young boy that had a kiss on the cheek by a beautiful lady with lots of money.
Hy het die koekie geproe.
But hy het nog nooit die koekie geproe nie. Until he tastes the cake, the cookie, the vagina, and he tastes that beautiful sourness of that vagina, he will know what it is to win the Premier League. Or even be on top 4. Continuously.
This was a discussion about soccer. I don't know, maybe we can rope you in for it. Be a sports guy.
I would love to do that. I'm a sport. I love rugby. I love soccer. I love golf. In fact, I used to be a swimmer. I was a Nipper Junior Western Province champion. So I can run. I can't run. Oh Lord, I can't run. I can't run to save my bloody life. But anyway,
you can run a media house, and that's what we were here to. Yeah. So look, I'm gonna call time on it. A time on this. Thank you so much for coming in, and we're not going to. This is just the start of a longer discussion that we're obviously going to talk about, like building bridges between us, because what we do know is that independent media is actually, I wouldn't say a threat to established media, it's a promise of a different way of doing media, reaching new people in a very authentic way. So thank you for that. I'm very proud of Afrikaap. I can catch you on
So let me, we've got probably five minutes more.
No, we have as much time as we want, but I've just got to bounce, so yeah.
All right. No, the reason why I'm saying is that, so I'm playing in a movie now, or not a movie, but a TV series that's going to happen on the SEBC probably this year or next year. So you'll see a lot of my beautiful face on TV. And so I won't be, but my shows are from 9 till 12, so you'll hear me sometimes, like tomorrow morning it will be Wayne Southgate because I'm in rehearsals. And then, but please go to www.afrikaap.co.za and go check out our radio station, and maybe we can also bounce some of your podcasts and throw it up 12 o'clock at night, our time. Van julle vloek hier op julle shows.
Wat sal die vloekie? But you see, then that's the problem again. So as soon as like a partner comes on board or somebody, then they start to make demands, like an advertiser. That's what we were talking about.
I can't fucking promise it.
No, we'll talk about Justin Trudeau. We'll talk about Jacinda Ardern and her retirement, and we'll talk about all of those things. But no, thanks so much for coming in, and the discussion continues. Nantel, again, thanks for being the best co-pilot in the world in independent media. And next week we've got I think it's sort of confirmed. We've got Philip Dexter to come in again. He wants to
Mr.
have
Philip
another.
Dexter.
We want to have another go at this media fight that they keep on dragging him into.
Yeah, but I want to say thank you to you, Roscoe, and to also to your producer. You know why I'm saying your producer? Because he's got a funny name.
Nandel Hopley.
Mr. Hopley. Thank you so much, sir, for allowing me to be here. And I know it's not easy to get another media house to talk, because I'm obviously going to promote my radio station, Afrikaap Radio. Come on, guys.
I want you to promote your media because with those stats, I'm one of the listeners in the morning. I put on the drive time thing. I do my work. It's very music heavy, and then I'll hear my friend.
Yeah.
You know?
So thank you so much for you guys for really allowing us to do this. And wherever we can partner, we can do that. Even if we have to maybe log into each other's networks and see how we can grow your platform and how we can grow our platform in doing what we are doing, because we are not an island. I believe that. And I believe we can do great things in the Western Cape and even in South Africa through what we are doing. We are actually going to scare the bloody world for these kind of things going to happen. So keep on doing what you guys are doing, and Roscoe, keep on doing what you're doing. You've always been this crazy guy. I always tell people, I don't know why you don't do politics, because we need people with your mind.
Do you know what a bad job? You know how bad it is to be a member of parliament. You know, like what a
Yeah, but you know, you're gonna continue to say how bad it is until you're gonna step in there and then you make it right. I always tell people, don't tell me how bad something is, and if you did not ever step in there, don't tell me how bad it was. Yes, parliament is bad and stuff like that, but when we're going to find those gems like you are not only a good writer, because I've seen how you've write stories and all those kind of things. You're a brilliant mind. You think differently. You think out of the box, and I think that is what needs to happen. You need to go back into that kind of things. Politics is what you are.
President or nothing. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sebastian. Thank you, Nantel. Thank you for watching at home. Catch us next Wednesday, and we are out.